Hi guys! For my video review, I read some more books by Amanda Hocking. I really loved her Switched, and I couldn't wait for the new series, or the rest of the series, to come out. So I read her My Blood Approved series. So that's 7, 8, 9, and 10. So let's get started. It's My Blood Approves, and it's about vampires, which is a little different than her Switched, which is about trolls. My Blood Approves was on Books A Million for 99 cents, so I jumped on it. That's really cheap for a book, and I loved that I could get it for that cheap. And the other ones in the series were only $2.99, which is amazing too. So, about the first one, I did like it. It's a little different. I think she must have been one of her first books she read, I think. I'm not sure. Or that she wrote, because let's start with the negative and then I'll do the positive. There were a lot of grammatical mistakes and spelling mistakes, simple things that I think an editor would catch, but if I'm thinking about it right, I don't think she had an editor at that time, so that might have been some of the problem. It's very Vampire Diaries. If you've ever read the Vampire Diaries or you've seen the show on the CW, I think, it's very girl, boy, boy, brothers fighting over the girl. It's very, some people say it was like Twilight, but I don't think it was like Twilight. I think Vampire Diaries, and that came out in 1991, so the books did. So those are the negatives. For the positives, I find her vampires to be more realistic. You know, they drink blood, they have to drink from humans, there's no vegetarian thing, they're vicious creatures. They don't sparkle in the sunlight. They can go out in the sun. It just really severely diminishes their capacities, and eventually it could kill them. So I like that. I like that her vampire is a little more realistic, if that's even a thing. Her lead character is pretty likable. At times I'm like, wake up, girl. Okay, hello, they're vampires. But mostly she's a likable character, which I think is a pretty hard thing to come by these days. You don't always like your lead character, but she was pretty good. Now it's Alice is the lead character. She's the female. And then the brothers are Jack and Peter. Peter is a total jerk to her, and I find that I don't like his character very much. When we're just going by the first book right now, I didn't like his character very much. Jack, on the other hand, is very laid back and relaxed, so he's the more likable of the characters, but I think you're supposed to like him. So I find the story overall in the first book was a very chemical reaction of how your body reacts versus how your mind reacts, sort of, and I like that juxtaposition. I like that thought process behind it. So for book number 1, I'm gonna give it 3 out of 5 stars. So moving on to the second book in the series, which was number 8 for me. It's called Fate, and I love that we get introduced to her brother, Milo. I mean, you meet him in the first book, but he just starts to pick up more in the second book, and I really like him. I really love his character. I almost feel like he could be the lead character. He's, in this book, much more likable than Alice. So I do like that, and he's gay. I like that randomness that he's got to be gay. He's like a gay vampire. Good for her. I like it. He's a great character. It was very wordy. There's describing what everyone's wearing, where everyone is in the room, what the dog's doing. I don't need to know all that. I just need to get to the good parts. That was a problem I had with this book and the sequential books after it. I feel like it gets wordier and wordier as it goes along, which is probably just trying to expand on the characters, but I felt it wasn't needed. We get enough about the characters from their actions. We don't need to know 500 things about what they're wearing every time they show up. In this book, I like Jack less and Peter more, and I don't know why. I find it's not a very common thing I found online. Most people like Jack, but by now I'm starting to think he's very pushy and needy. He's very Edward, and I don't like that. I didn't like Edward, so the grammar and spelling is still bad, but it's getting better. I would say it's definitely better than the first one. So I don't know if someone started stepping in to help her, if she started paying more attention to that. So Amanda, good job on that one. Also, vampire. They're vampires, and you expect that, but when, at the end of the book, a big thing happens. Like, it's not leading up to it. The book isn't leading up to it. I feel like all of a sudden she was like, I need to draw the reader in for the next book, and she just goes blam in like the last 10 pages and gives you something, and you're just like, what? Really? Was that necessary? No. You didn't do that. We knew it was going to happen eventually. You didn't need to push it into somewhere and make it work. You know, wait till the time is right and then do it. So I didn't approve of the way she made us feel, and I think that a lot of people felt like she rushed it. So that's how I feel about that one. I'm going to give this book a 2 out of 5 stars. I just felt with the wordiness and with the shock and awe at the end, 2 out of 5. So on to number 4. 3 in the series, 9 for me. It's called Flutter. It was $2.99 on BarnesandNoble.com. I think with this book, and I don't know how much difference, like time difference, there was between number 8, or between book number 2 and book number 3, because I feel like she progressed a lot as an author. Like, she got plot. It just exploded. Like, this book was filled with plot, and things are happening, and lots of new characters get introduced, and I love it. I love that she went out of her way to add more plot outside of just the vampires, woo, and love triangle, woo. There's a lot more going on than that, and I really like that. She adds a new place, like a new scene, the Vampire Club, called V, which is creative. I love it. I love the Vampire Club. I love the people in the Vampire Club. I love Olivia, who you find out is the owner of the Vampire Club. She's amazing. And she used to be a vampire hunter. It's pretty cool. She's up there with Milo now as one of my favorite characters. And in this book, I'm like developing more and more into liking Peter. Like I said in the last one, that I really started to like Peter more and Jack less. Yeah, he's a very like beautiful tortured soul kind of thing, and I love those in books. I think that's great, so I'm glad. Another character that they had, and she's been there the whole time, but she wasn't very important, but her name's May, and she's like the mother vampire, and I just don't like her. At first I do like her. I feel like I like her, but I feel like she's had to fill a role, and so that's why she's there. Like, she serves no purpose. But I mean, she does have a purpose in this book, but that purpose makes me not like her anymore, so come what may with that one. I love that in this book we get invested in a big bad. I always think characters, need somebody to fight against, need something to fight against, and now that the whole love triangle thing has kind of been solved, I think that the introduction of a big bad is pretty exciting. I did like that. So this is my favorite book out of the series. Definitely, I thought it was more interesting than the other two. But I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. It was pretty interesting. And it was definitely worth the wait. Like, reading the other books was worth this book. So on to what is unfortunately the last book in the series. It's not the end. There should be another book, but she said that she hasn't written it yet and that she doesn't have any plans on writing it yet, which kind of makes me angry. You get so many readers emotionally invested in your characters and you can't even finish. I do understand writer's block, but come on now. So book number 4 is called Wisdom, and I don't know, not my favorite, but not my least favorite either. It's got a lot of, you get introduced to what I say is like 2 new main characters. Bobby is Milo's boyfriend. I love that. And he's human. That's so great. It brings in all the problems, like a human relationship is involved. I love that. And he was in book 3, but he's more heavily involved in book 4, and I like that. Also, you get introduced to Leaf, who used to be part of the big bad, but he's not anymore, and I like that. Reformed bad guys are always pretty cool. In this one, though, I feel like there's a lot of swear words. I feel like she's trying to justify adults reading it now, and I just feel like there's a lot of not a lot of sex, like a lot of lead up to the sex, which isn't very interesting, but a lot of swear words. They weren't necessary. Like, as adults, we could use them if we wanted to, and as children, they don't need to use them. So I don't think swear words are necessarily that necessary. So there's a lot less typos in this, very few. I liked that. I definitely liked that. And I feel like this one has a lot of moral issues. Like, personally, how you would feel about the way vampires go out doing things. I like that, too. All in all, it wasn't that exciting. I feel like it's like a transition, that's the word I'm looking for. A transition book into the 5th book that never got published. So, until, I don't know, like, I write little notes so that I can tell you guys how I feel, and you'll see at the bottom here it says, not gonna finish as of yet, swear. Like, that's how I feel about it. Like, I want to swear. I'm not going to, but, like, really? That just upsets me. Really? You're not gonna finish it? That's like J.K. Rowling writing the 6 books, and then she goes, oh, I don't know what to do in the 7th one. I'm just not gonna write it. Like, global meltdown, okay? Chaos on a global scale. Not quite as bad for Amanda Hocking, but seriously, come on now. So that's it. I do have a few more books that I read this week. I was really busy with work, so I did a lot of ebooks. I will be uploading those during the week. And as of right now, I'm on book 10, but I am caught up. So I will review those when I get a chance. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys soon. Bye!